Hey y'all, I know it's been a while. I haven't posted on this channel in a while, but yes, happy election day. If you haven't voted, I encourage you to please go out there and vote. And also, for some content, just going to share my experience with my first time being a mail-in ballot voter and also some of the occurrences that's been happening. Yeah, it starts with getting inundated with all the material, to remind you to vote. And, I know it can get overwhelming, and depending on how early it starts, you can just be dismissive of it. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, thank you to all the people doing their part, trying to make sure they get the word out and remind everybody to vote in all the various ways that you can do it. So that's appreciated. But to be honest, we can all get kind of dismissive of it. Even was getting just text messages and all that about it. And this particular one about the mail-in ballot was interesting. So I just kind of ducked it off in the back of my mind and kept it. And so, yeah, it was a thought because of the fact I've never done a mail-in ballot before. I've always done in person. And I just want to make sure that I got my vote in for this general election or presidential election. And, normally we're voting for federal, state, and local officials, and it happens every 4 years. But the last one was in 2020. That was a big year. COVID was going on. On top of the fact I actually was relocating to a different state from Arkansas to Georgia, and Georgia was in the middle of a lockdown. So it was just a lot of stress. I was stressed even before COVID, but that didn't help the situation. And then Georgia was literally in the middle of lockdown because I was moving on the 6th, and you see how it entered for everybody around April the 2nd and ended on April the 30th. It is move out. We are moving out. Yes, it'll be going with the coronavirus, getting some coolers of food, because with this corona going from Arkansas, where it may be 800 and some confirmed cases, to Georgia, where it's 6,000 and some confirmed cases.
Now in Georgia, there are more than 7,500 confirmed cases of COVID-19. The state health department reports 294 Georgians have died.
It's a little scary, so I'm trying to avoid getting grocery. I mean, it's pretty ballsy to be moving during a freaking pandemic, but I figure it's now or never because it's been in the move. This is the second attempt, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it and go on faith. This is a process, so it's been 3 days, so we got the house cleared out, got the truck behind, and we about to leave Jonesboro. It's back. Not missing this motherfucker. But yeah, so I'll try to record. I haven't been doing much recording, but it should be exciting. It's a little nervous though with this corona, but I done bought $215 worth of groceries before leaving town. But I'm not gonna be
turn left onto the ramp to I-555.
I ain't ready for all that yet. Because that shit still spreading there.
Ain't nobody got time for that. And I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life.
Hey, we made it on in here. The truck. And we are in Georgia.
Our driveway we're supposed to be hitting. This one or the one back there?
This is us right here.
Well, I can back it up in there.
It's our new home. Mr. Randy off at the bus station, and he was willing to get on the bus. I done gave him masks, hand sanitizers, gloves, all that. Make sure he's safe with all this coronavirus. But I swear, that is what's up, man. God is good, because I was ready to drive that truck. I was finna put my car on the back, but it was too heavy and too wide to be on a carrier or a dolly. That's why I couldn't do it. But I sure was finna do this shit myself. But God is good. My neighbor, and you see that man he definitely older. And he was willing to drive 7 hours. 7 hours on a big ass diesel truck. That he ain't drove a diesel truck in over 30 years. But man, God is good. Because I really didn't have no driver. Yeah, I'm independent, but I tell you, God will send people in your life and put people in their heart to do stuff. If a whole damn near stranger care enough about you to do that. Ladies, don't fucking settle. That's all I'm gonna say. Because trust and believe that when you really, really need the help, do what you can on your own. But when you really need it, God will send help. That's why you got to be careful. Because men should be our covering. And when you ain't got one in your life, God definitely sends supernatural help. You know, he definitely has a soft spot for the elderly, widows of single women, because it wasn't meant for us to be out here like this. So a single woman is damn, especially with children, is just like a widow, a woman without male support. Don't mean we can't handle shit, but it really wasn't meant to just be straight out here like this. So that's how God, he definitely is awesome. And all I know is if a whole complete stranger, damn near, you know, can care enough about you just off the strength of who you are. That man just see me come in and out my house. I don't bother nobody bother me. Ain't no niggas in and out my goddamn house. None of that shit. Anytime I needed any help, Mr. Randy been there. And all I know is I damn sure am not gonna settle for no nigga just offering no D and no bullshit promises. What the fuck for? What the fuck for? You know what I mean? If a person like that, it's just an example, you know, can look out like that. That's just further proof that I'm okay. That's the way I am. Until I get me a straight up man that do manly shit and care about me and my children, that's a damn shame you can have. Whole, you know, niggas, baby daddies and shit, you know, people you got children with ain't even 10 toes down. And then a complete stranger ain't never gave no ass, no nothing, can extend themselves that way. 7 hours? That man ain't got to drive like that. Man is tired and old. And he was willing to do that, to not see me out there hanging like that. He offered that, and that was a blessing. So, shit, the fuck? Settle? Shit, I done made it this far, and I'm not gonna settle. So, Atlanta is gonna be good to me. And I'm here. Boo on the coronavirus. You see, we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We'll fear no evil. Yes, I'm gonna take it seriously. Yes, we know shit's going on, but I don't think it's gonna get me. I'm gonna take it seriously now, but I'm not gonna be paranoid about the shit, because I really could have just totally said to shit with this move. But now I did get my grocery and everything that while I was where I was, because it's not as bad off there. But yeah, because I'm not finna be quarantined. I'm not ready for that just yet. You know, I'm trying to get in my place and situated instead of running around. So I did a lot of running around while I was where I was, Arkansas, whatever, you know. But yeah, it's time to go and get shit cracking. It's time to get it cracking. And yeah, God is really good, and we made it. We made it. And that just got to unpack and make it do what it do. I know I went out on a tangent, had felt the need to give my testimony. Hopefully that helped somebody. But that's what was going on for me at 2020. It was a lot. And so me actually being able to register to vote, do all that kind of stuff in the midst of all of that, and actually vote during the 2020 election, that just wasn't on my bingo card. But I'm glad Biden won, though. Don't get me wrong, man. But then, you know, here come Trump with his shenanigans. Can't even get Biden in there good without him and his supporters trying to run down on the Capitol building. Just a mess.
Let's have trial by combat.
O'er the land of the free.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
We'll pause.
Protesters are in the building.
Thank you.
There wasn't anything you said.
They're gonna stop us!
They want us down.
So May didn't participate in the 2020 election, but Trump and his shenanigans, I made sure me and my daughter got registered to vote. She, at that point in 2022, is 19. She's 21 now, so she was able to actually vote. And, you know, the primary elections is where you get to vote for who will be on the general election for the next presidential election. And so I made sure we participated in that, and she got her first voter experience in. She voted. She got to put it in there. First time voter. I'm proud of her. That lady is so nice trying to teach her what to do. Then get a little voting thing. How did it feel voting? She a mess looking crazed out, but she did her due diligence. I definitely believe in voting. So, yeah, we participated in the primary elections. But then this year, you know, around 9/11, just, you know, brought everything back. Plus, I'm noticing we getting closer to November. And I'm just like, you know what? I decided that I am going to do the mail-in ballot because I haven't voted since I lived here again. Atlanta is a lot bigger. And I'm just like trying to wait on voting day because we did the primary early. So I'm like, you know what? I'd rather vote early and I'm going to get a mail-in ballot just, you know, to make sure it gets in. So I remembered that text that I got. And so to keep it simple, I just clicked the link and then it took me to this site. And so, you know, there's a file that you have to fill out an application and then you can upload it. But I was having this error message and I'm just like, oh, Lord, here we go. But I was determined. So, you know, you see the date, September 11th, I sent it in an email. And then it took a couple of days and they emailed me back, let me know that they received it. That was nice. So everything went through. And I can't exactly remember what date that the actual thing came in the mail. It did take a little while, probably like around the beginning of October. But either way, in your state, just go type it in. And when I look just, you know, in general, those came up specific to our state. And then, you know, I clicked this one because this looked familiar, like the site that I went to. But when I clicked it, yeah, that's the site. You know, since just in case you don't have it like in a link in the email. And so yeah, looks the same. But again, just type in how to apply for an absentee ballot in your state. I clicked the first link and then click this and it still redirected me to that same site. So either way, they're going to get you there. So now I'm going to show you the actual mail-in ballot that I got and, you know, walk you through the process. The last election, COVID was going on, and so I did not vote. And plus, I was new living here. And this time, for the first time, I'm using one of those absentee ballots to make sure, because I don't know, you know, how the polling station stuff is going to be. I ain't got time for all that. I know where to go, but I don't know how big the turnout is going to be for this presidential election. And I just want to make sure my vote is in. I don't want no problems. So, yep. I actually requested that, and this will be my first time doing this. So this is what it looks like. And it's got, you know, something that you put it in. And they even got the return envelope. So, yep, I'm about to fill this out. And then you remove the stub. That's what it said to do. Do it in black or blue ink. Fully color in the oval. Put it inside this white one and then inside the other return one and mail it in. That's what I'm about to do. Matter of fact, I'm going to take it to the post office myself. Make sure, instead of putting it in the mailbox and listening to a little red, little arm thing, And just to clarify what I meant when I'm talking about the red arm thing on the mailbox, you can lift that up to signal for the postal worker to know to take some mail out of the mail and take it to the post office. And it's convenient, instead of you having to run to the post office, you know what I mean? But you just got to be careful of doing it, especially if you got something important in there, checks, stuff like that. If people even do that, maybe that's old school. But just in case some people didn't know what that was, that's what that is. So, being busy and stuff is easy, it's convenient. But at the time, I called myself trying to take it a step further and make sure I was safeguarding by taking it directly to the post office. Because you'll see what I'm talking about later on in the video about what some of the postal workers are doing. So I called myself trying to take it a step further and being sure that it went straight to the post office to be mailed off. But nah, I even changed my mind from that and took it even a step further than that. And you'll see why later in the video about that too. But at the time I was speaking on it right here, I was talking about, that. I'm going to take it to the post office myself. So this is about a week, about 8 days before Election Day. So I'm going to turn that in now. And then I'm going to take Sanaa because I told her to request one because you can't request it on the other people's behalf. And she didn't get around to it. And so it ended up getting too late. It was it's just getting too late. So I'm going to take her to do early voting today. So we getting all our voting out the way. Election Day is a week from tomorrow. So we getting our voting out the way. I'm going to do my absentee ballot, and then I'm taking her to the polling location. I don't want to hear nothing about no votes don't count because they ain't campaigning and they ain't trying to throw elections for no reason. They must count to some degree. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to do my due diligence. Shoot, too many people fought for the right to vote, had to pay to vote. And yeah, I was born in Midwest in Wisconsin, but I grew up in the South. And I got people from the South, and it's a sensitive topic. So, definitely we fought for our rights to be able to vote. And we already know even with the right to vote, it still has been suppression. They even at one time had taken just ridiculous literacy tests. And I don't know, just it was always hard. So it doesn't make sense to not want to exercise your right to vote. And especially, even foreigners. And then when it comes to immigrants, with the DACA recipients or kids who were brought here by immigrant relatives, and they've been here pretty much all their life, all their childhood, who have come of age, and they're able to get driver's license, enroll in college, get legal work, they paying taxes, and they contributing to society, yet they are denied the right to vote. And don't think that's not for any reason either, because it counts. It's a lot of people who are homeless technically and just think they can't vote. Yes, you can. Yes, the economy and a lot of people's lives got turned upside down, especially after COVID. But definitely exercise your right to vote. And then we also know one of the tactics was, getting everybody locked up or with some form of a record to keep them from voting. Some wrongfully and some rightfully so. Or it was overkill, whatever. And I always thought that they just lost their voting rights forever. I didn't even know that they can get their voting rights reinstated. And so if anybody does have a record, they need to know that they can and go get their voting rights reinstated, especially if they finish their parole or probation or whatever, and vote. You know what I'm saying? I just know don't nobody need to be complaining and trying to be so woke, like, oh, it doesn't matter and this like that, the third. It does, because they people gonna show up. And even if you thought it was able for they just could steal it, don't make it easy for them. It's the divisiveness that causes a problem in the communities as well as just in society, period. You know what I mean? That we just got to stop being so divided on some of these subjects. Even if some of that stuff is true. Like I say, make it hard on 'em. Make it obvious that they had to cheat to vote. Let it be a bigger turnout or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just Don't just lay over but then got the nerve to be complaining about everything in society and how everything is such a conspiracy, but you ain't doing nothing to be in the solution. You know what I mean? Be in the solution. Try to be. You know what I mean? And they wouldn't be trying to do all this campaigning and even trying to steal elections if votes didn't matter. So I don't want to hear all that. And vote for who you want to. I know they say the stuff with Kamala had been disproven, where people are, oh, they're throwing innocent black men in jail, whatever. I don't care if you want to say everything she did is true. It sure can't be no worse than Trump ass. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? I can't. Even all the racist groups, KKK, all these skinheads, all these people is literally behind him. And you want to know why? Because his agenda. His agenda, y'all, got to be something comparable to what they rock with. So anybody that support him that's of that type, I ain't supporting that candidate. I'm sorry. I don't care what y'all, I don't know what got in people's heads. I saw Kamala's gonna be on Club Shay Shay. I don't just watch him like that, but I saw it on my feed. And just to see the comments of all the people like, oh, that ain't my auntie and all that. Like, it's scary how many people might just vote for Trump. Even, I ain't saying all black people got to vote for Kamala. And I mean, if people could group together and vote for another candidate other than them two, cool. But if it can't collectively impact it where they would actually win the election, it's like throwing it in the wind. So if I got to choose the lesser of two evils, if that's what y'all feel it is, I'm going for Kamala. I'm sorry. I'm not going for no racist Trump or any people that's racist that support Trump. They're not supporting him 100% for no reason. So, yeah, no. I'll insert the clip that I'm talking about. He breaks it down very well.
A black person commented on my post, is Donald Trump actually racist? That is the question. I actually don't believe that that's the question. Here's why. There are real-life white racist groups in America that are active and identified by the FBI publicly that are self-proclaimed racist. We don't have to guess about Donald Trump being racist when we have actual self-proclaimed racists in America. All we have to do is ask them, who do they think is best for their agenda? Let's start at the very top. David Duke, the Grand Wizard of the KKK, who has very publicly many times reiterated their support for Donald Trump, saying that they are, quote, 100% behind the president's agenda, and has said many times that they and Trump represent the same ideals. Don Black, the leader of the self-proclaimed white supremacist anti-black group called Stormfront that has also been confirmed by the FBI, has also said many times that Donald Trump becoming president has been great support to their agenda. Steve Smith, the leader of the Keystone State Skinheads, a profoundly violent racist group identified by the FBI, communicates his support for Donald Trump every time he gets in front of a camera. And it just keeps going. The SPLC is the group that is responsible for bankrupting the KKK. They put out a list of the 170 active racist groups. If you go on their website, every single group supports Donald Trump. So if you're black, I don't think the question is Donald Trump racist? I think the question is, why do racists believe that he's racist? Why do people who come together around one idea, and that idea is the denigration of non-white people in America, why do they believe Donald Trump is best for their agenda? What does the Grand Wizard of the KKK see in Donald Trump that he likes? And if you're a person of color, how can Trump be good for him and you? Why do all of those groups like him so much? Do you think it's his economic policy? Do you think that these people get together and pick a candidate based off of economic policy? And if you're a white person that's considering voting for Donald Trump that doesn't consider themselves to be racist, what does it feel like knowing that you walk in the voting box and you hit the same button as some of the most abhorrently, flagrantly racist Americans? What does that feel like, being lockstep with them?
All right, then. So, no. I know you shouldn't be saying who you voting for, but I ain't voting for Trump. I know that. And I'm going to do my due diligence. Also, the reason why I'm not going to do the in-person is because I already got this. And they have certain rules, because, of course, they want to make sure that you're not voting twice. You know what I'm saying? That's another way that they could try to throw the election or just, I don't need a, since I already requested this, then I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Because, of course, it'd be like, why you ain't just going to do the early voting with your daughter? Okay, well, I already requested this. And I don't want no confusion because they have this for a reason, too. You got to withdraw. I don't know, or throw away this. I just don't want no confusion about my vote. Since I requested it, and it's probably on record that I requested it, I'm just going to do this and go through with it. Also, you know, they don't show who is what in the soil and water conservation supervisor. So I at least Googled to find out a little bit about that, because there was a Reddit comment section about these soil and water supervisor options. I Googled, and you have to pick 2 out of the 3. And so, judging from what I saw on this Reddit, no. Witham is giving DeJoy vibes. The guy that was hired at the post office as the postmaster who ain't got no experience and friends with Trump. Yeah, no. It's giving, why are you here? And then something on the news website that they kind of had some information explaining this stuff. And I'll put the link in the description, just better explaining about this that I saw on one of the news websites. But, you know, one is about the tax court and the other is about charging an extra tax for the next 30 years to help improve the transit system. But of course, these things would vary depending on your particular county, city, state, whatever. So whatever it is, just look it up and educate yourself. And so the mail-in ballot was a good opportunity to be able to even just get a heads up of what's on there instead of making a decision on the fly, not knowing what's going on. So do your due diligence and search if you can, if you don't understand it or just want it in layman's terms, so you kind of better understand what you're voting for or against. Also, before you turn it, put it in the white envelope. If somebody assisted you filling it out, then, on the return envelope, then put that there. But if not, just make sure you fill out this part on the inside of the return envelope and sign and print and put driver's license number or whatever other information. And then put your ballot that's in this inside of this one, and then mail it off. And you ain't gotta put no postage on it. On the vote, I'm gonna take my things they got where you can put a drop box. So I'm gonna use the drop box as well as take Sanaa to vote here. I thought I had some footage coming out of there, but regardless, we voted. And I'm starting to see stuff about the ballots.
A mailman in Orlando, Florida has been arrested in a case of more than 1,000 pieces of mail found dumped in the woods. Among the over 1,000 pieces of mail the postal worker is accused of discarding, there was an absentee ballot and what officials are calling 400 political items found in the stash. The investigation into McCoy began when a coworker noticed he returned from his route much earlier than expected, despite leaving with a large quantity of deliveries. After reviewing GPS data from McCoy's postal vehicle, his manager discovered that he had deviated from his assigned route and stopped in a wooded area. A U.S. Postal Service inspector found the discarded mail and was able to obtain surveillance footage that allegedly shows McCoy actively throwing the mail to the trees and bushes.
A Republican candidate faces charges tonight for stealing ballots during a voting machine test. CBS 4's Michael Van Squick explains why the Madison County prosecutor calls this an attempt to undermine election integrity.
This is corruption. This is corruption at its core.
Madison County tested its voting machines on the morning of October 3rd. The test ensures every vote is counted accurately. This live streamed video shows the process, which involved several Madison County voters invited to participate. At the top of the screen, you can see former congressional candidate Larry Savage Jr. participating in the test.
As that was being conducted, he took 2 of the ballots, folded them up, put them in his pocket, and left.
While test ballots don't count as actual votes, they are filled out with candidate selections like they would be on Election Day. These papers hanging on the wall at the Madison County Government Center are sample ballots, which have sample written in bold all the way across the paper. Unlike test ballots, samples cannot be counted and used in a voting machine. Cummings says a stolen test ballot can have major implications.
He could have taken those 2 ballots. When he voted, he could have voted his own ballot and 2 other ballots. if he chose to do that.
Investigators say Savage could be heard acknowledging that the test ballots are real. According to court documents, investigators also searched his phone and found a text that morning reading, "Sis, they say anything about the ballots I took?" Investigators also say he posted on a social media page condemning Madison County election procedures after taking those ballots. Police found the ballots in his truck later that day.
This is one of the worst things that can happen given the national climate about integrity of elections, to intentionally steal ballots and then attack the system. I can't imagine a bigger disservice to our community than that.
We spoke to Savage today. He denies any wrongdoing.
At no time did I have any malintent. At no time did I actually think that that was a real ballot. The truth is going to come out, and I'm an innocent man.
Savage is now facing 1 felony and 1 misdemeanor charge, carrying up to 3.5 years behind bars.
The ballot boxes.
FBI investigating fires that were set in ballot drop boxes in the Pacific Northwest that destroyed hundreds of ballots. One local official called it, quote, an act of terror.
The ballots were literally on fire inside this drop box in Vancouver, Washington.
We do have smoke coming out of the ballot box.
Now officials say hundreds of ballots at this location have been damaged. And the FBI is on the hunt for the suspected arsonist, who authorities believe is also behind 2 other fiery attacks on ballot drop boxes around the Pacific Northwest. Officials say those fires, only miles apart in Portland, Oregon and Vancouver, Washington, were sparked by incendiary devices attached to the outside of the drop boxes.
It looks like there's some kind of device attached to the ballot box.
Authorities releasing this photo of a Volvo they say is connected to the suspect.
If you use that ballot drop box after 11 o'clock a.m. on Saturday and until early this morning, you should get a replacement ballot.
Nora, investigators are still searching for a motive in these ballot box fires, but a law enforcement source tells CBS News it's still unclear whether the suspect here is a pro-Palestinian sympathizer or just trying to stoke controversy. This is what's left of hundreds of burnt ballots inside a drop box in Clark County, Washington. An election official said an unknown number of other ballots were destroyed. The FBI has taken both incendiary devices to their laboratory in Huntsville, Alabama for forensic analysis. And Portland police said today they believe he may have metalworking experience based on the detailed welding on both of these devices.
That's an interesting clue. So how many ballots are we talking about, and what can voters do to make sure their ballots are protected?
In Portland, 3 ballots were damaged. In Washington state, officials say 494 ballots were damaged, but county officials there have already identified nearly every one of those voters, and they're reaching out to them directly. They've also positioned ballot box watchers or observers across the county.
They're there 24 hours a day. Those individuals have a sole task, only one responsibility, and that is if they see something they think is suspicious, to call 911.
And Nora, voters impacted in Washington state can request a replacement ballot online.
Trusting the election system mostly involves placing trust in processes that happen behind the scenes, processes we usually can't see. But when you see ballot boxes lit on fire, it's a pretty obvious example of election interference. The Maryland State Board of Elections administrator says that was a scenario his employees had trained for, and after seeing it happen in other cities, the board asked law enforcement to add more protections. All ballot boxes are under 24/7 video surveillance, including this one outside the Baltimore City Elections Office.
Security measures are being taken to protect ballots across the state. Each community is putting a fire suppression device inside of ballot boxes. But the company that makes those devices is saying they don't approve of this.
Stovetop fire stoppers were put inside every ballot box in towns all across the state. So it's sitting right here at the top of the ballot box. And if a fire was detected inside the box, that would trigger a fuse that would then drop fire suppressant powder onto the ballots to protect them. But the company's president says that these devices were made specifically for grease fires and not for paper ballots.
We were made aware that other states had used similar devices and placed them in ballot boxes as a preventative measure to extinguish these fires.
Ballot boxes went up in flames in Oregon and Washington state this week, but authorities are confident those votes will still be counted as fire suppression devices placed inside the boxes were able to protect most of the ballots. That prompted the state of Connecticut to purchase 400 stovetop fire stop kits for the 200 ballot boxes across the state. But the president of the company says that's not the point of his product. In a statement sent to Eyewitness News, he said, quote, "Stovetop fire stop products have been designed and tested for residential grease fires only. They have not been tested in a ballot box application. Using the product differently than what is stated in the user manual is not something we approve of. The suppression material for grease fires is different than what should be used for paper or an electrical fire." William Turner, the state emergency management director, said the devices cost the state just under $11,000, what the State Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection considers a small price to pay if ballots were to be set on fire. And he sees no reason as to why they shouldn't work on more than just kitchen fires. Porto believes extra security measures could be avoided if everyone brought their ballots inside town halls rather than drop boxes.
I think it's a solution looking for a problem. So if you're worried about the safety of the ballots, all you have to do is walk in, hand it to the clerk, and he or she will put it in the vault.
So I'm glad that I didn't take it to the post office and that I just put it directly in the ballot box inside of a voting station. So in the future, if you do that, especially after what I'm seeing, and that's a first, because I knew they were doing some funny business with the post office the last election period, where that new guy that they found out was in cahoots with Trump was taking away certain stuff, you know what I mean, making it more difficult and slowed down the mailing process.
A crowd of protesters gathered outside Louis DeJoy's Greensboro home this morning. This comes after weeks of drama about the Postal Service's ability to handle a surge of mail-in voting. Now, some protesters have feared that since DeJoy is a Republican mega donor, his political leanings might be influencing his decisions at work. So now, Democrat Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia has introduced a new bill. It's called the Nonpartisan Postmaster General Act. This bill would prevent appointees for Postmaster General and Deputy Postmaster General from having any political position for 4 years before the appointment. The Postmaster General, the Deputy Postmaster General, and members of the Postal Service Board of Governors would also be prohibited from political fundraising and campaign activities. Now, DeJoy is known for having the president at his Greensboro home for fundraisers, and 3 years ago, he was a deputy finance chairman of the Republican National Committee. Political experts say Senator Manchin's bill, it is pretty much dead on arrival, but there is another hurdle for DeJoy, a new possible criminal investigation, which has launched the hashtag #ArrestLouisDeJoy.
President Trump fending off accusations that he's trying to sabotage the U.S. Postal Service, saying he has never encouraged the Postmaster General to slow down mail delivery.
Have you ever encouraged the Postmaster General, a big donor to you, to slow the mail?
No, not at all. Wouldn't do that.
This year they burning the ballots in the outdoor ballot boxes. So I don't know. I'm just glad I trusted my instinct not to go through the post office and to just go take it inside to the ballot. So just do that in the future, since now we see in the aftermath what's up. But yeah, make sure y'all go out and vote. Actually getting calls, y'all. Missed calls from Donald Trump, y'all. All the way up. I know it ain't really Donald Trump, but I'm just saying, y'all. I don't know who's using this stuff on the campaign, but that's kind of ridiculous, y'all. It's too much. I definitely stay in the Republican area. And I know Georgia is typically a red state. And last election, it actually flipped blue by a thin margin. But honey, they are going hard promoting. So they going hard for Trump. I'm just saying like that, to the point they got him his ID on the things, because you saw how his supporters are usually 60 and up. So yeah, they probably assuming, yeah, and you know sometimes they supporters be so simple here, they might even be thinking, child, I don't know, but it's wild. It's wild. They going hard for Trump. And not just them pamphlets. I'm talking about they calling to the very end. You see, it's the day before, the day of election. They own it still aggressively. So yeah, clearly it's serious. You know what I mean? If they're doing all that. So folks want to make it seem like your vote don't count. Ain't nobody doing all that if your vote don't count. That's what they want you to think. Just, you know, so you don't vote. I mean, if it's that easy to steal or something like that. So just go put your vote in. You know what I mean? Just do that. Please. So please go vote. Good job on those that did. If you missed it, make sure you do it next time. Maybe consider the mail-in ballot, but take it to an indoor ballot box at a poll station. I would advise. Hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching. And I just pray that God takes control of the situation and that it works out for everybody's highest good, no matter who is elected. And praying that everybody is thriving and will thrive, that things get better. And y'all take care.